It is Fashion Week, and I saw that during one interview, Kendall Jenner made the comment that Hillary Clinton might look good in a jumpsuit. And Hillary said, well, hopefully they never find those emails or it's going to be an orange jumpsuit. So, lights out! Lights out!
Fox News anchor Chris Wallace, who will be moderator for the final presidential debate of election season, said in an interview this week that he doesn't feel it's his job to call out the candidates when they lie. Super, said Hillary and Donald at the same time.
Look at this now. Now there's a conspiracy theory making the rounds online that Hillary Clinton was being fed answers through an earpiece during her town hall last week. She had a secret earpiece. Hillary said, I promise you it wasn't an earpiece, or my name isn't Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton. Lights out!
Now remember, Hillary supported the wars in Iraq and Libya. She has a hawkish streak that deserves scrutiny and criticism, especially considering how wary many Americans have become of foreign military intervention. Fortunately for Hillary, she's running against an opponent whose main foreign policy experience is the time he invaded Scotland with a golf club.
All right. Last night, North Korea, you know that place, right? North Korea conducted what they claim was a successful test of their biggest nuclear warhead yet. So congrats to them. That's great. I'm glad they're finally figuring that out. It's really... will someone please tell Kim Jong-un they like his new glasses and he looks like he lost weight so he doesn't kill everybody on the West Coast?
You know what else isn't funny in North Korea? Everything. Because they banned the use of sarcasm. Wow. Now, they're not banning hyperbole. There's no need to. Because in North Korea, people really do feel hungry enough to eat a horse. And here's why they banned the sarcasm. Because Kim Jong-un fears people only agree with him ironically. Okay? All right, well, that's how we feel. I'd like to take a moment right now to reassure Kim Jong-un. Dear leader, I want you to know that your ban on sarcasm is a great idea. Is so smart. Doesn't seem desperate at all. And setting off a bomb underneath your own country, genius.
You know, the thing that gets me is Kim Jong-un's hairstyle. A little weird, isn't it? Well, that was headlines and punchlines. The late-night lefties kind of moderating some of their statements there, some of their jokes. From the Laugh to Keep from Crying file, when you take a look at what is going on in the presidential campaign and foreign policy woes we confront, we're pleased to be rejoined by my old colleague from Capitol Hill, former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Pete Hoekstra. Pete Skyping in from Holland, Michigan. We should note again for the record that former Congressman Hoekstra is also the author of the book Architects of Disaster, The Destruction of Libya. And Pete, we appreciate you hanging in. And a reminder to you, you can call us with your questions or comments at 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Pete, perhaps it's a sign of the times. Mr. Trump, Mrs. Clinton yesterday in New York. Meantime, in Washington, a couple of things. We understand President Obama had the moment of silence moved up for his convenience to his personal schedule, and he returned to the politically correct notion of diversity as being a strength in his comments yesterday on 9/11. Let's look and listen.
For we know that our diversity, our patchwork heritage, is not a weakness. It is still and always will be one of our greatest strengths. This is the America that was attacked that September morning. This is the America that we must remain true to.
So just more politically correct preaching from this commander-in-chief?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, the thing that makes America great is absolutely we have a diversity, but ultimately what happens with the diversity comes a oneness. We are one. Out of many come one. And that is a dedication to America. It is a dedication to our ideals. what we stand for. And that's the character and that's the uniqueness of America, that we bring so many different people together. And to focus continually on, well, we're all different and all of these kinds of things. No, what we really should be highlighting and focusing on, especially like a day where we remember the folks from 9/11, are the things that bring us together as a country, and how we continually have this sense of commonness and oneness, and that America really is that shining city on the hill.
He would be getting into Ronald Reagan territory if he used that. Obviously, the president, with his background as a community organizer, which is a polite way to say street agitator, he just very seldom plays that. Plays up diversity, plays up difference. Dick Cheney and his daughter Liz, who's running for Congress from Wyoming, wrote in the Wall Street Journal that this president also plays up weakness. In fact, what the Cheneys write on the pages of the Wall Street Journal is that this president has made us deliberately weaker, and that whomever the next president is, it's going to be an uphill climb to restore our national security. You agree with the Cheneys?
Oh, absolutely. And JD, you and I have talked about this on your programs over the last number of months. We are weaker. Are we weaker or stronger in Europe? We are weaker. Are we weaker or stronger in the Middle East? Weaker. Northern Africa, we are weaker. But most importantly, the relationships that we have had with world leaders and countries around the world are in tatters. We've got to, they no longer trust us, they no longer fear us, they no longer respect us. And when that happens, it's bad for America, it's bad for America, and it's bad for the rest of the world. Now, the next president on January 20 is going to have their hands full with reestablishing American credibility around the world. I think, in this trip to Asia, Laos, recently by the president, it was multiple times that he referred to us as lazy and the problems that we have in this country. And it's kind of like, no, Mr. President, we have our issues, we may have our problems, but when you're overseas, inspire them so that these countries can want to become like we are. Because I can tell you, most of the people in these countries, they would love to have that pass to get into the United States and to establish a life here.
Yeah, I think in fitting, he was going to the G20 summit. He insulted Americans 17 times on that trip, I believe was the count. Keeping count of numbers, it chokes me up to think about this. 1-877-Newsmax, 1-877-639-7629. Pete, back to your home state of Michigan, Grand Rapids to be specific. Patricia is on the line. Hi, Patricia.
Hi, JD and Pete. I personally consider Pete, and I say this very few times, a great man, a great and honorable man. I worked on his campaign and for governor. But let me get to my question. That is this: I'm not hearing much talk, particularly on any media, concerning what I'm reading about, and that is that President Obama has a plan to turn our internet over to the UN at the end of this month. So I don't know if I'd just like to hear your comments. I'll just listen in now.
Well, thanks for the call, Pat. Pete, that is high praise from a former campaign volunteer, and we're glad to have her in our audience because this is a subject you and I have addressed on several occasions. Give us the latest on what happens with the internet and the .coms and the future of the internet. We've got about 1:30 remaining.
Well, JD, this is born in the United States. Some actually even give Al Gore credit for creating the internet. So it's an American creation, whether Al Gore created it or not. And he really didn't, but that's beyond the point. But this has been something that American values have been instilled in the internet: access, freedom of speech, and all of these types of things, and has enabled and fueled the growth of the internet, information on a global basis. And it's because of American leadership and American values. And at the end of this month, the president's he's giving up that control And who knows where it goes? Most likely it goes to the UN. Whoa, that's a good place for it to go. And maybe Congress can take some legislative action to make sure that that doesn't happen. But I doubt that that's going to be the case. And we're going to get to October 1. The internet is going to be controlled. The U.S. is going to give it up. Because why? We're exceptional like lots of other countries are exceptional, and we're going to give it up to that exceptional organization called the UN. Be
Bad
prepared.
stuff.
It's going to change, and we'll probably start paying taxes on it to the UN.
Boy, I sure hope not. Pete Hoekstra, we appreciate your assessment, and thank you very much. Up next, Peter Marisi and John Zogby, and more of your calls as we continue.